Cinema. Welcome back to War with Cinema. I'm your host, Greg, your local metalhead, and with me is...
Par the Collector. What's up, everybody?
And you chose Tombstone.
Tombstone.
1993.
This movie is, like, so great that, like, it's still shocking to me that it was only made in 93. Like, the authenticness of it, you know, like, looking like a Western, like, they did a fucking phenomenal job, bro. Like...
I was going to say, I was surprised at how historically accurate it is.
Right. I mean, I was thinking to myself when I watched it, because I've looked up, like, some of the backstory. Like, all the characters were real people.
Yes.
Now, did they exactly all in this place at the same time and stuff? Maybe not. But
yeah, they were.
They were?
Yeah, this is very, very, very accurate. Things are, like, time-wise different.
Right.
Like, his brothers didn't get shot on the same day kind of thing.
Right.
But everything, for the most part, happened.
It's like they condensed it all into that.
Down to in the beginning scene when he kicks Billy Bob out of the... He did that.
Yeah.
He really, real deal did that.
He's wide Earp.
Like, I was, like, crazy. I was kind of blown away at, like...
Bro, he slaps the shit out of Billy Bob Thornton. Throw down, boy.
What are you going to do? You going to do something or bleed?
You're just going to stand there and bleed.
Oh, that's such a good part. I love that scene.
How hard of a bitch slap was that you got this motherfucker bleeding out his mouth, dude?
Yeah, he hit him pretty hard. And took his gun? Like...
Lay it down. Bro, he goes to hand it to him. I said, lay it down.
Yeah.
He fucking laid it down on the ground. And then thanked him. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You carpetbagging sons of bitches. I told you caught blowing that goddamn cigar smoke in my face. It's like playing cards with my sister's kids.
I just wanted to get this one out of the way. Guess how, like, just take a guess at the budget on this, because I was blown away.
See, I would think it would be up there because, you know, you have to make it look accurate.
Yeah, they did a really good job. It's like a real deal town.
It's like they built a fucking town from scratch.
Right.
Out there. I'm going to go.
And everybody in it?
Yeah, I'm going to go 60 mil.
60 mil?
60 mil.
Yeah, 25 million.
Really? Well, yeah. I mean, it is the 90s, so I guess shit costs
but
less.
But even still, like...
You would think, though. Yeah, that's big, but I got to get this out there, man. It is fucking criminal that Val Kilmer was not even... I think we talked about it last week or a week before or whatever, but it's fucking criminal that Val Kilmer was not at least nominated for an award on this movie. This movie's not nominated for any fucking awards.
No, it was kind of like a lackluster release. Like, people liked it, but it's grown like a cult following.
My dad put this movie on, like, I felt like every week we watched Tombstone at my house. Like, I grew up watching Tombstone.
Yeah.
And
I was very late to the game on this one.
Right.
Shout out to Mick.
Yeah.
He kept saying Tombstone. He's like, this is the best Western ever made. And I don't like Westerns.
I agree too. I mean, I've never been a big Western guy. Like, my dad, like, we watched all the John Wayne movies growing up. Mm-hmm. All the Clint Eastwood. Some of the Clint Eastwood Westerns I like his spaghetti Westerns and stuff. I'm a big fan of them. But yeah, just Westerns never really felt. But then when this movie came out, I was just like, this is the greatest fucking thing ever. All-star cast. You got Kurt Russell, fucking Sam Elliott, Val Kilmer,
Bill Paxton,
R.I.P.
Mm-hmm.
You got Powers Booth. You got
Thomas Hayden Church.
You got old boy from fucking My Big Fat Greek Wedding. He's in this. He's the guy with the beard that keeps shooting at the stage.
Oh, really?
That's him, dude. I didn't even recognize him with the beard and shit. I was just like, what the fuck? even the Spanish dude, the one that, like, they have translating in the first scene and stuff. Even he's a big time actor now.
Yeah.
He plays it's funny. He plays a Greek mob boss in fucking The Wire. But that was like, damn, man. Like, you know, because I've watched this movie for years. Even Johnny Ringo, like, I don't know his name, but I've seen him in other stuff.
Michael Biehn.
Yeah. I've seen him in other stuff.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, this has got to be the number one movie for mustaches. I've never seen a movie with better mustaches than this movie right here, man.
Especially the head cowboy.
Yeah.
With the red shirt.
Powers Booth killing it with the mustache in this one.
That mustache went hard.
Even Ringo. Dude, everybody in this bitch had a fly mustache. Even Val Kilmer, who could barely grow a mustache.
They probably only got Sam Elliott because of his mustache. He grows one hell of a mustache.
Yeah, that guy's got the best mustache. Him and Kurt Russell are like a deadlock for the best mustache in the game, dude. Seriously, though. Like, I was sitting there watching it last night, and I'm like, man, I might have to cut some of this off, man.
Just go mustache.
Just go straight stash, man.
Then you look at it and you're like, no, I just look like a pedo. I don't look like a cowboy.
I feel like Ron Jeremy, like an overweight porn star from the 80s, you know? But like, God, if I had the chin for it, dude, right. I'm telling you, those mustaches, to this day, mustaches are almost the stars of the show. Like, if these guys didn't pick up their guns, the mustaches would have done it for them. Like,
so what is this? What is the movie about? You want to get into the movie?
Yeah, it's Wyatt Earp, you know, famed lawman, and you know, pretty much not a tall tale, but like people talk about Wyatt Earp, like John Henry and Johnny Appleseed. Like there was all these like stories that he could do these things that like no man could do.
Yeah.
You know, John Henry Irons type shit. Like he could beat the rail machine, and you know, like Wyatt Earp became that guy. He could ride a tornado and shit, and like, you know, but he made his money being a marshal in Kansas, like, you know, tracking down outlaws and people that stole cattle and stuff, and like he became a well-known lawman in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Well, his brothers were also lawmen in other cities, I'm assuming, and they want to hang it up. Like they've been shooting it out with people for years.
Yeah, they just want to go into business and live their retirement, just running a business.
I love the narration at the beginning of this movie too. Mm-hmm. I don't know who does the voice of it, but it's very good. Like setting it up. You almost don't feel like you're getting ready to watch a movie. You feel like you're getting ready to watch like a documentary or something.
Yeah, it's very close to one.
And so it pretty much sets it up. You know, him being the lawman and him and his family wanting to settle out west. You know, they're tired of the grind, so they want to kind of come out here.
Fun fact: Wyatt Earp was a pimp.
Really?
And his wife, the lady that's with him, was his main girl.
His bottom bitch, huh?
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
She was on that codeine, boy. That good shit. You know what's crazy back then is like all medicine was just drugs. Like it was just straight narcotics. They just put a bottle in it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like Coca-Cola really had cocaine and shit in it. Like that, you know what I mean? I don't think Coke was around, but I'm just saying, like shit like that. Like they were using like
but they were giving like cocaine as like a drug. Like you got a headache, here's some cocaine. Like
that'll make it better.
And if you got like certain headaches, they would drain your blood, like blood draining. They just did weird shit because they didn't know.
Right? Yeah, the medical science wasn't up to where it is nowadays. But yeah, so you know, Kurt Russell is Wyatt Earp, and Bill Paxton is his brother Morgan, and Sam Elliott is Virgil. Great names in this too. Virgil Earp, Morgan Earp, Doc Holliday. Fucking love Doc Holliday. Dude, he is my favorite part of this whole movie. Almost every line Val Kilmer has in this movie is a fucking quote, dude.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
yeah.
I would get like 3 Doc Holliday tattoos, man. Like, I'm your
just
Huckleberry.
Getting the Latin.
That's kind of dope, but like I some of the ones like I'll get to them when we get to the parts, but like some of those lines I'm just like, man, that's a tattoo right there. But so they settle in Tombstone, which is like a big growing town, and their whole thing was they were going to stop here for a while and then try to make it to San Francisco because they wanted to go to the gold rush or whatever. But they get to this town and they realize that it's not really ran worth the fuck. Like they have one bar, it's a nice bar, but nobody goes to it because of Billy Bob Thornton. Mm-hmm. So Wyatt Earp, he's there 10 minutes and he's like, I'll be right back, boys. And they're like, oh, there he goes. So he goes in there, pretty much bitch slaps Billy Bob Thornton around, talks to the owner. And he's like, what if I could get him out of here, man? And he's like, nobody's got this guy out of here. He's ran off all of our customers. It's a great scene because Billy Bob's, he's really thick. Like, you know, this is probably like the biggest role other than like Sling Blade I've seen him in. Like, makes me wonder if they like put pillows on him or something because like he's just big in this movie.
You think so? I thought it was the clothes, just big baggy clothes. Might have been. Didn't fit him really well, but
he just looked a little thick around the midsection. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's in there. He's the dealer. He's like the head dealer, and he's just like pretty much shitting on all the people.
Apparently that was like a real gang. They were like some kind of gambler gang, and they would go in and take over places and just run them like that. That was their hustle.
So he throws him out, and then he turns around to the barkeep, and he's like, what do you think? About 25% of the house takes? Sound fair to you? Which, I mean, it is.
I mean, you weren't getting shit before, and now you're getting shit, so.
Well, not only does the business come back, but you got the fucking famous Wyatt Earp as your bulldog. Mm-hmm. People ain't going to fuck around in that joint, you know? And then you're kind of introduced to the antagonists of the movie, which they're called the Cowboys. and it's badass. They wear red, like not bandanas.
That wasn't real.
I know. But they were saying they were like the first organized crime in America.
That was true though. They really were like the first cowboys.
Yeah, they said 100 outlaws from Texas got together and made the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, but the red sashes weren't real. Somebody said that they think they gave them the red sashes because this came out around the time those gangster movies were coming out with the Bloods and the Crips, and they're like, oh, that would be cool if they had a color, whatever.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sets up a lot of cool shit in it, but like just the way they would wear them. Mm-hmm. Some of them would have them around their neck, some of them have them around their waist.
But it's believable. Like I could see them doing that.
You gotta have something to tell each other apart. You know?
Can't go shirts and skins and cowboy.
Well, they're talking with the town marshal, Fred White, and they're like, yeah, man. He's like, they're the biggest hindrance, but they're also the biggest draw. Like people come to see these guys because they're the last outlaws. They're the last motherfuckers to do what they want.
Which this was in like
late 1800s.
Late 1800s. For some reason, I was thinking this was way longer ago. For some reason,
yeah, me too. When I was a kid, I used to think that for sure. Like
I don't know why I thought it was like 200 years ago. I was like, no, it was probably
before Civil War.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty long time ago.
Yeah, I have no frame of reference when it comes to like historian like time frames. I'm terrible with it. So,
but so they get their stake in the casino, and the first night they're there, this fucking dude bets Wyatt Earp all this land. He's like, I got land deals. And he's like, because he wins some little bet, wins like a couple $100 or whatever. And then Wyatt Earp's like, oh, you are on fire. He's like, I told you I was. He goes, I got 7 plots of land that I'm going to put down on red 7 or whatever it was. And he lost. So Wyatt Earp just got like 7 things of land for nothing. And of course, the town sheriff, he's crooked as fuck. He's like, he's the dude in the bowler hat with the mustache, like. And when I was watching it this time, it made me think back to A Million Ways to Die in the West. I think that's what Neil Patrick Harris's character was supposed to be. Because they kind of look similar, like the way they dressed him up, the way the mustache curled and everything. I was like,
I think it's just your run-of-the-mill Western.
Well, I don't know. But he's got a fucking pimp cane he's carrying around and shit. And like,
yeah, he doesn't look like a sheriff. He looks
He looks like a bitch, but like nobody else wanted the job, so they gave it to me. And he's definitely, like, you don't know it at first, but of course he's on the take, And so they're doing really well. They're making money. They're, everything's going good, but there's a point because Doc Holliday comes into town, and I love, because he heard Wyatt Earp was, whatever. But when you're introduced to him, he's playing poker with a bunch of guys, and he's fucked up. Like, and it's just him and his old lady. And he was like, something or another about, he's just making these guys feel like fucking stupid. Like, I'm taking all your money and there's nothing you can do about it, type of deal. And the old boy's like, fucking tired of your cheating ass shit, Doc. And he goes to like pull a gun, and like, you can't even see Val Kilmer like make eye contact with him. He just pulls both of them out on him like, are you telling me we ain't friends? And he flips them up and he puts them on the table. He's like, there, now we can be friends again. So old dude pulls a knife on him. He ends up fucking cutting him while the chick pulls the gun out and she's getting all the money together. And he stands up, and on the way out, there's like a craps table. And there's just like 2 stacks of money. He just like
grabs them,
scoops these up too. He's like, well, that'll be it then. They turn around and leave.
So the real Doc Holliday, he got tuberculosis when he was like 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he decided to live his life to the fullest every day because he knew he could die at any moment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how old he was when he died, but if he made it to 40, that's like pretty big deal.
He died a few years after this. I want to say 86, and this was like 79.
Right.
So it was a few years after this, but
yeah, the fact that Wyatt Earp was like this big lawman and Doc Holliday was like this outlaw, and the fact that they were like such good friends, like, just shows like that kind of loyalty. And you know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, yeah, Doc, or because Sam Elliott don't fuck with him at all. He's like, why the fuck is Doc here? And he's like, oh, I love having Doc around. He's great for a laugh.
Well, because Doc saved his life.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, every time he shows up, it's bad business, you know, and stuff like that. Well, he's like, nah, I like having him around. It'll be all right, type of deal. So they're in there, and, you know, everything's running good, and the cowboys come into town. Well, we kind of skipped over the first scene of the movie, which really sets up like what these guys are all about.
Oh, the wedding scene?
Yeah, they pull up to a wedding in Mexico, and I guess like these, it was a Mexican cop getting married, and they had killed 2 cowboys in Mexico. So they roll up and they drop the sashes on the ground, and Powers Booth for fucking, I'm sorry, man, but Powers Booth, does he ever play a good guy in anything? Like, he's just such a good bad guy, bro.
He really is.
I love him in this, and I love him in Sin City, bro. Like, he just plays the devil in everything I've seen him in, pretty much. He fucking kills it. Like, so he's like, y'all shot 2 cowboys. And then like these dudes go for their guns and they just blow them away, man. And they carry the bride off in there, shoot her, and then like,
and they just eat all their food.
right, because they're like about to have a wedding reception, you know, so they're like, all right, boys, let's eat. And it's a small thing, but like Powers Booth takes a bite out of the tortilla and just spits it out, like just seeing if the tortilla was up to his standards. Like, it was kind of like a meh. But then he keeps eating it again. I was just like, man, little things like that make it good. And of course, there's a priest out there, and he's speaking in Spanish about how they fucked up, and now, now the man on the white horse is coming for you. And Ringo don't even miss a beat. My boy just pops the priest in the head.
I know, he shocks out all the cowboys. Like, really? You just shot a priest? Like,
we just killed a woman, and that doesn't even seem as bad as like what you just did, bro.
Right.
Like,
you just want to go straight to hell, huh?
And he was like, "What is he saying, Johnny?" He said, talking about, you know, the white man, the death is coming for us on a white horse and shit. And I think that was the only missed opportunity, man, when they were killing all the cowboys. Like, why wasn't he on a white horse? If he'd have been on a, for real though, if he'd have been on a white horse, and they could have all other been on any other color horses, but as long as Wyatt was on a white horse, that would have been dope, man.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. That would have been a nice callback.
Cinematography wise, I don't think it's underrated in this movie. There's so many shots of them riding, and it shows the sun big as shit, like when they're coming over the plains.
There's a few of them, yeah.
Dude, I was just like, God, that's fucking beautiful, man. Like, that's a poster right there, dude. Like, but yeah, so they're in there like fucking around, drinking and shit, and Powers Booth is like gambling, and Ringo's with him, and Doc Holliday's in there fucked up. All the brothers are in there fucked up, but Wyatt is dealing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, these guys like, I heard you a lawman. He's like, not anymore. I'm retired. And then I love Ike. He's like one of the cowboys. He's like the fucking, like the grunt pretty much.
Well, apparently the real Ike was just, he was a farmer, not farmer, but, you know, cattle and stuff like that. But he was in with the cowboys because they would go and get all this cattle from Mexico and bring it back up, but they had to sell it to like crooked cattle dealers, so they would sell it to like Ike. So he wasn't a part of the cowboys in the real story, but
he's good in this one though.
But yeah, they make him like a part of the gang.
He's a necessary heel in this one.
Yeah.
Law don't go around here, Law dog. I heard him the first time. Like, he's not even like, so he pretty much like, I feel like he let him win the hand just to like make him like fucking go away.
Right.
He ends up winning like $500.
Yeah, it's like, here's your $500. Now get the fuck out of here.
Pretty much, like, and he goes, Doc Holliday once again is fucked up, looks like shit. And he's like, Doc Holliday, you retired too? And my boy don't even miss a beat. He finishes the drink. Nope, not me. I'm in my prime. You really look it.
He's like, I think I hate this man.
What do you think, darling? Johnny Ringo. Say he's the fastest gun in the West. Should I hate him? And then he goes to talking, and he speaks the Latin or whatever, and then they both speak Latin to each other, and he goes, Mr. Ringo's an educated man. You know what? I hate him. So he pulls his gun, and Powers Booth is like, be careful, Johnny. I heard he's fast. And he goes, fast. And he does all this cool shit with the gun. Yeah. And it's like, damn, bro, that's going to be hard to come back from. Well, then my boy stands up and does it all with this fucking drinking cup, making fun of it. Then, of course, the whole fucking house is laughing and everything. But even Wyatt kind of laughs because, like, it's kind of like easing the tensions type of deal, you know? Because, like, we don't want problems with these fucking guys. Like, their reputation was one of those things that like they were going to bring you to justice one way or another, dead or alive type of deal. That's the kind of rep these guys had. But they're not out there for that. They just want to make their money and live their lives, you know. So it's like a nice little way of easing the tensions at the moment. But at the same time, you knew that it was going to be a problem eventually. Like both of them weren't going to be able to stay in this town. So they go off, and then Powers Booth. There's a sweet actress that comes into town because it's like one of the burgeoning towns out there, so people are coming. Billy Zane, who
I was going to say Billy Zane.
Forgot. Billy Zane, the Phantom himself, makes an appearance in this movie, dude.
I was so close to giving you Demon Knight with Billy Zane in it just because of his small appearance in this.
Oh yeah,
I was like, nah, I'll save it.
Billy Zane's got one of those careers, man. Like he's always played like a shitty person in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Titanic, you fucking hate him. You hate him in this. Like, well, you don't really hate him in this, but like, he's not like a big deal.
Yeah, he's not. He's a whatever. But in Demon Knight, is one of the funniest roles he's ever had.
I love the Phantom, but I saw that when I was a kid, so I'm sure it's probably not great now. I haven't watched it in a while.
Yeah,
but it's based off of an old. He's like one of the first comic book characters type of deal. But anyway, so. After that, they go to this actor show or whatever, and when you're introduced to the wives, Sam Elliott's got like an Irish wife, and Bill Paxton has like a normal, whatever girl, and then Wyatt Earp's old lady is like fucked up the whole time. She's like, I just get these headaches, and I forgot what they call it, but it's pretty much like fucking heroin or whatever they're giving her to like,
It's some kind of drug, yeah.
Right. And it's fucking her up. Like, she looks doped up half the movie, like every time you see her type of deal.
Oh, yeah. Like when he comes home, she's in the bed and she's
laughing
just completely out of it.
Fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like one of those things, like he wants to be a good man, but like at the same time, like you just tell they're not in love. Like every time he tries to do something sweet, she's just like, never mind, or whatever. Like first she like after that first night at the casino, she's like, come home with me, and he's like, I gotta go to work, honey, and she just kind of gets that look, and he's like, well, you know what, I gotta go right now. He's like, I can put it off for a while, like, let's spend some time together. And then she's like, no, and just fucking leaves. Like, I'm just like, okay. But then of course Wyatt Earp pretty much like falls for love at first sight for this actress chick.
Yeah.
And she's with Billy Zane, but like I think Billy Zane's like gay. They don't really talk about it, but like they're together, but they're not like together.
I didn't think about it, yeah.
Because she fucks the sheriff before him, and then, you know what I mean? She was with Billy Zane during it, and then, eventually at the end of the movie or whatever. But yeah, so she's kind of like this free spirit, and she does, but like he wants her bad, but like he's trying to like not feed into it or whatever.
Yeah, and the real story apparently, it was like a tug of war between him and Doc Holliday with this girl.
Yeah, he has some good lines about her, and like I said, Val Kilmer makes this movie. Like, this is a good movie without Val Kilmer, but it's a great fucking movie because of Val Kilmer.
I was gonna say that, yeah.
Like,
and who else could do it? I just can't see anybody else doing Doc Holliday.
Not anymore.
This justice.
Nah, he's fucking fit. Like, when I was a kid and watching this, I thought to myself, like, well, because I always liked Val Kilmer because he was Batman. So, like, when I saw this and then I knew he was Batman, I was just like, man, I want a Doc Holliday movie. Like, how badass would that have been, in his younger days?
Mm-hmm.
That would have been cool. I could have seen that, but they kill it in this. He kills it in this, man. So, where are we at?
Oh, well, the actresses. We were at the theater scene when
right.
they're doing the performance, which this is the only part in the movie where I have like a weird gripe because they're not supposed to have their guns. Like they'll say it later in the movie.
No, that's because of that. It wasn't a law at the time. They could have their guns and shit. Because like they start shooting the fucking ceiling when it's good and shit, and like that wasn't allowed.
Well, shortly after,
it's when Curly Bob gets fucked up. That's Powers Booth's character.
Mm-hmm.
He gets fucked up on opium.
Yeah, and he's shooting at the moon and shit like that.
The sheriff comes out, or the town marshal comes out there, who's an old guy, because they're all standing in Wyatt's bar, and they hear him out there fucking shooting and shit, and they're like, somebody gonna do something, and the mayor's in there, and he's a big pussy too. He's a big time actor too. I forget his name.
Well, before that, he's like, you can't be having your guns out here, kind of thing. Just hand them over. Like, it was kind of a thing. You can't have your guns out. Like, I know they banned the guns, but there was like an unspoken law about not having them. That's why I thought the theater scene of them like shooting and shit was kind of weird. I was like, you're not
because
gonna
they were outlaws, they could do whatever the fuck they wanted.
It's like, who are you gonna stop? You gonna stop them?
That's exactly what it was. It's like, yeah, bro, we're doing all this, and y'all ain't gonna do shit.
Yeah,
because we're those guys, And,
that makes sense. Yeah.
It was fucking irritating the shit at me. The guy that played the like deputy with the glasses, like the little pussy dude, is that the guy from 90210?
I don't know.
It reminds me of him so bad. Like, I wanted to look up his name. I don't know why I didn't.
I don't know. It's gonna be hard looking through all this.
Oh yeah, Michael Rooker's in this fucking movie too.
He is, isn't he? It's a small part,
Masterson, man.
Whenever he pops up,
I don't see him on like I think his name was Billy, not in the movie. His name was Billy. Yeah, Billy Claiborne. Why do they have him as Wyatt Earp? They don't show like him as a young guy or anything. Like, what is that?
I don't
know. He's in there somewhere. But anyways, he looks just like the fucking dude from 90210. You know what I'm talking about? Jamie Presley, I think's his name.
Yeah. I didn't think so, but
if they don't, man, they look like he could have been like a fucking stunt double for him or something. But anyways, he's like flabbergasted by Billy Zane's acting ability and shit, and like they all think he's gay because he's not a rough and tough cowboy type of dude. So like they're shooting at him and shit, and he's like trying to act through it, and he's like, leave him alone, this is great, type of deal. Like, and oh yeah, it is Jason Presley. That is the guy from 90210.
Oh, okay.
Holy shit, I'm glad my eyes ain't gave out on me yet, man. My memory's going, but not the eyes, baby. That was him.
That's pretty funny.
He's young as shit in this movie.
Yeah, he is.
I think he was still doing 90210 when this movie came out.
Yeah, probably
93 had to be, right?
Right.
That's crazy.
I know you're doing that show, but you want to go do
You want to do a real fucking movie?
A Western?
Yeah, you want to do a good one? People will like actually remember you for?
Right.
Although 90210 is like,
I never watched it, so I couldn't say.
It was,
like,
it was
on.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I remember the intro and and
you don't have to lie. Like, if you watch 90210,
I really did. Like, I'm not gonna say I've never not seen an episode of it, but like I didn't like know what was going on. Like, my wife though, she loves it. She still watches that shit because it comes on like reruns on some channel like syndication. It just plays 90210 like all the time, and she'll be getting ready for work and watching it. And she'll be like,
the fucking sitcoms back then were so weird, like Baywatch.
She loved Luke Perry, R.I.P. Like, she loved some fucking Luke Perry. Like, that was her guy.
Yeah.
Dylan McDermott. But yeah, so anyway, so like after the show or whatever, that's when he gets into it with his wife, and they go and this and that. Well, there's a turning point in the movie where they're all hanging out, and Doc is pretty much living in this fucking bar at this point. Like, he's fucked up playing the piano, and his girl's like leaning on him and shit, and they're just fucking around. But I guess whatever he's playing, Thomas Hayden Church doesn't like, and he's one of the cowboys, and he's like, play something else. Fuck, like, you've been playing that dumb shit all day. Val Kilmer just like very poetically kind of says like, I don't give a shit what you like. I'm gonna fucking play what I want to like. So they get into it or whatever, but afterwards, that's when the shooting and all that shit starts outside for Powers' booth. Well, Fred White, the old man, goes out there and he's like, Curly Bill, I need those guns. You got to sleep it off. It's time to give it up. And I really don't think that he meant to kill the old man. He was just fucked up. Like,
fun fact, he went to court or whatever for the whole thing. Yeah, he got off because they did say it was like an accident.
Right.
No one really knows for sure, but they say it's an accident.
Well, of course, when he goes to, he turns the guns, and it's pretty crazy how he does it. He flips the guns over like, my bad, Fred, take them from me. And then when he goes to do it, he just catches him with that one in the chest. And what makes me think that, like, well, because one, he's fucked up, but at the same time, he's like, oh, come on, Fred, you're all right. Like, come on, Fred, get up. And he knows he fucking killed this dude. He doesn't know that he just killed this fucking dude.
Yeah.
So Wyatt Earp goes out there and fucking hits him in the back of the head and gets his guns. And they're like, we're going to take this motherfucker to jail. Or no, the townspeople were like, hang this motherfucker. We just saw him kill the marshal. Like, hang this motherfucker right now. Like, old style justice. And he's like, he's going to stand trial, this and that. Well, then the rest of the cowboys start coming out of the woodworks because they're in this town like that. And Ike pops up. He's like, turn him loose. He ain't going to jail. Turn him loose. And
there's a fact I kind of wish they would have found a way to I knew it would have been way too long, but it would have been a nice little like. So anyway, there were these 3 robbers that shot up a caravan, and they got away, and there was a reward out for them. Wyatt Earp and Ike got together. He's like, if I get these 3 guys, you can have the recognition for getting them, but I'll get the money. I'll get the reward. So it's a win-win situation. So he was going to go out and get them, but turns out they got shot and killed. But Ike couldn't live with someone else knowing that he was working with Wyatt. You know what I mean? So he was worried Wyatt was going to like talk.
Tell everybody.
Yeah, tell everybody. And then the cowboys were going to find out and have to kill him. So it was driving him like crazy with this like guilt.
Right.
And that's where their beef comes from. They don't really, they don't talk about it in the movie, but it would have been cool if they would have like squeezed that in there somehow.
Find a way to kind of like hint at it or something.
Yeah.
Well, it still works because you just think he's just the do boy for the Cowboys. Yeah. That's why I always got like, he was like, he's a made man, but he's not in management.
Right.
He's like a soldier or a capo, something like that. Like, cause he's got guys under him. Cause when Powers Booth, who's running that shit, is like, I take so-and-so and so-and-so and finish that shit. And, it's like, let me know. Like, he trusts him to do stuff, but at the same time, like, he ain't running shit like him and Ringo. But yeah, Ike's like, turn him loose. He ain't going to jail. And he's like, we're going to rush you. And fucking my boy Wyatt Earp puts the gun. He goes, you die first. He goes, they might get me in a rush, but that ain't going to stop me from turning your head into a canoe.
Yeah,
great line. Great line.
I'm like, he ain't going to do it.
Right. Let's rush him. And then, oh boy, don't do it. He'll kill me. He'll kill me, Billy. Back on up. Back on up. So then Val Kilmer comes out there and he puts the gun on Thomas Hayden Church and he's like, you die next, music lover. He's like, you're just a drunk old piano player. Probably ain't seeing straight. Probably seeing double. And he pulls out this big ass knife and then he pulls out his other gun and he's like, well, I have 2 guns, one for each of you. Fucking dope, man. And they pretty much talk it out. They calm the tensions down. And after that, the lawmen inside Virgil and Morgan, like, they can't handle it anymore, so they get sworn in to take the old man's place. So they're the marshals now in the town. And Wyatt's like, why don't fucking do this to me? Like, we came out here just to be fucking civilians. Like, what are you doing, man? He's like, you're going to get us fucking put in this shit. And like, we're not in here for that. Like, we're in here just to make our money and live our lives, man. And Virgil's like, I can't fucking stand by and watch these people like this, Wyatt. Like, because right after the scene, he walks outside and has to pull a kid out of the street because there's like a bunch of cowboys just riding through town, fucking shooting guns and causing mayhem. And he hands the kid to his mother. And even she has a big ass scar going down the side of her face like that. So it's just like kind of letting you know, like, these people are not happy. Like, these people are just scared. They're trapped because
they are overrun by the cowboys.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not like back nowadays where you could just move. Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, there might not have been another town.
Have you seen Oregon Trail or have you played Oregon Trail? It's not that easy. Like,
you fucking die for picking up a rock in the wrong place. Fucking rattle or something, get your ass.
Yeah. Like, that was real though. They really did get sworn in.
Right.
And everything. So I thought it was pretty cool.
So they're pretty much running, and then the first act Virgil does is say, "Hey man, nobody's saying you can't own a gun. Nobody's saying you can't carry a gun. we're just telling you can't do it in town anymore. And it's like a misdemeanor, like at the thing, they got to pay a fine and they take their guns or whatever. So, of course, the cowboys are like, fuck that shit. We ain't doing that, whatever. But like when they go in the bars, they still have to give up their guns and shit. But like when they're outside, they're like, fuck it. So they go in one night and it's Doc Holliday and Ike and they're all playing cards. And Ike, loses and shit. And pretty much Doc Holliday's like fucking with him, like,
Oh, what do you say? He's like, maybe we could play a game that
suits your needs.
Suits your needs.
And he's like, how do you feel about Checkos or some shit?
No, he's like, let's have a spelling contest.
Maybe a spelling bee.
Because the way he said it, like,
right, like you're a fucking idiot. Yeah.
So, God damn it, I love Val Kilmer in this.
So they fucking kick Ike out, and it's actually kind of funny. Like, I know it's not meant to be funny, but like the bartender's like, you just need to go home, Ike. Nobody cheated. He slaps the shit out of him. Don't take no lip off no bartenders. Don't take no lip off no bartenders. And
Ike gets pretty much the punching bag of that. He's kind of a bitch throughout the whole movie.
Oh yeah, he gives up like 4 fucking times.
Surrenders so easily.
Yeah, when shit gets real.
Yeah. Don't shoot. I don't have a gun.
I don't have a gun. Shut the fuck up and get the fuck out of the way. Fucking hits him in the head with his gun. So yeah, after they do all that, the cowboys have been getting fucked up and shit, and they're like, yeah, man, the town mayor comes over, or not the mayor. Yeah, this is the mayor. He comes over and he's like, hey, just want to let you know there's a bunch of cowboys behind the OK Corral, which is a big thing. There is a shootout at the OK Corral. Like,
it's the biggest shootout.
Right. A lot of people don't even know about that. Like that, like when even people who don't know about Western shit, like they've always heard of the OK Corral. You know what I mean? And I would say if I have any gripe in this movie, I wish that fight scene would have been bigger. Like more guys.
Well, they
you know what I mean? If this is supposed to be the biggest fucking gunfight that ever happened out in the West, like why wouldn't it be bigger?
Well, it's because it's depicted in reality, and it's the whole like
it's really just like 6 guys.
It's the politics of the shootout that's so big because they went on trial.
Well, Virgil said, I'm going to arrest them. And they're like,
when are they going to take their guns?
Yeah, Wyatt's like, that's a fucking misdemeanor, man. He's like, you're going to get us fucking killed going down here to try to disarm these motherfuckers. And Virgil's like, I don't give a fuck. They're breaking the law. Virgil's old school. So Kurt Russell just kind of like looks up to God, like, what am I supposed to do, bro? And he's like, all right, Virgil, it's your call. And he's like, well, let's go take their guns. And then Wyatt's like, well, you better swear me in too, just so I can kill these motherfuckers legally if I have to. Because I guess back then, you just had to get a badge and you kill anybody.
Well, they temporarily swore in Val Kilmer. That made them a unit.
You're right. He's like, give Doc the shotgun. He goes, they'll be a little less antsy if Doc's on the howitzer. Meaning, like, he's deadly with that shit. You ain't gonna want these problems. So they go out there, and of course, it's Thomas Hayden Church and Ike and like all the like smaller guys, not like the big time guys, but they've all been on a fucking bender. They're all hungover, just in a shit mood. And here comes Wyatt Earp and the fucking cow and the cops. And they're like, hey, man, give up these guns. And they're like, man, fuck you. We ain't giving up nothing. And it's like this really intense standoff. And you see, and it's really Doc Holliday's fault, bro, because he looks at Thomas Hayden Church and goes, like, just gives him that little wink. Like, you little bitch. I knew you weren't going to do nothing. Like, And before he even gets that bitch out the holster, Doc Holliday drills that motherfucker. And can we talk about how much I love the introduction of Peacemaker? Fucking Kurt Russell's gun in this movie. It's a normal, like a thing, but it's got this long ass barrel on it. It just looks like a fucking hand cannon. And then he gets a couple, and then Ike, fucking runs at him like a little bitch.
Yeah, they had to go on trial for this because they said it was... They claimed it was self-defense, right, but they're like
shot first,
yeah, but they're like only 2 of them had guns and you shot at them. But the only thing that saved them is when Ike charged at him. He's like, "Go on and get out of here." That showed that he wasn't being aggressive,
right?
So that's what got him off.
Well, they killed all of them but Ike.
Yeah.
So, this is where the movie really turned bad for them, because they have the funerals for the guys that were killed, and they're walking through Tombstone with a sign that says "Murdered in Tombstone."
Yeah, because I'm not a historian, and I'm just learning all this after watching the movie. So if I get shit wrong, don't hold it against me. But it really like divided the city, because
Right.
some of them were like
Pro
these
Cowboys,
guys,
yeah.
these guys did justice, and then other ones were like they're just being,
They're tyrants. And,
yeah, exactly.
So Bill Paxton ends up killing one of them, and there's like a whole spiel between him and Wyatt. He's like, "You've never killed a man, Virgil," or he's like, "Never killed anybody, Morgan." He goes, "You ain't never had to live with that." And he gets shot in the arm, and Sam Elliott catches one in the leg during the shootout.
Mm-hmm.
And they're walking down the funeral down the main street, and Bill Paxton kind of pulls his jacket in like to cover up his gunshot wound, and he's like, "You know what? I never thought it." And he doesn't even give him a chance to finish. He's like, "I know, Morg. I know." It's like, he knew what it was. Like, you've never had to take a man's life before. I've done it. Like, it's tough. Like, it sticks with you type of shit.
I know. I always think about those cops that end up shooting somebody, like just because that's part of the job, and they came across somebody that they just had to do that to. Like that, even though it might have been just
right,
you still killed somebody.
If you're a good person, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
you have a fucking soul. Like, I don't think anybody wakes up and just says, "I can't wait to kill a motherfucker today." But you know what I mean? But
I just couldn't imagine living with that.
Yeah, I mean, it would be tough. But like you said, if you knew that you were doing it for the right reason, I think you would be okay. Because like cops and people in the military, like, they do that stuff. I'm just saying, like, they find a way to live with it.
Some of them are very fucked up about it.
Oh, I mean, I get it. I'm not saying that they like doing it, but it was either me or him type of situation. I'd rather it not be me too.
Yeah.
But so after that, they catch Johnny Ringo in the street. He's fucking drunk, and he calls them pimps because they're like just using people they're just taking the money, from the casino and this and that. And like, he hates the fact that they're like these big name guys and they've made their money, and like and they just killed all their friends, And Jason Priestley has a scene where like they're like, "Hey, Billy," and he's like, "Don't you talk to me. Those men you killed were my friends." And he's like, all they ever did was laugh at him. Like all they did was bully you.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that's when they run into Ringo, and he's like, "I want your blood. I want your souls, and I want them right now." And he tries to duel Wyatt Earp, and he's like, "I don't even have a gun on me, Ringo." He's like, "I'm not fighting you. There's no money in it." He's like, "Ain't none of you motherfuckers got the guts to pay for blood?" And my boy Doc Holliday's getting a shave, and he's like, "Oh, I'm your Huckleberry. That's my game. Say when." And of course, the other cowboys see this, and they're like, "Oh, bro, Johnny's fucked up. He's finna get it." So Powers Booth and them like jump on him. And they're like, "He's just drunk, man. He don't want no problems." Like, And of course, Ringo's fucking throwing shit behind him, and he's like fucking falls over and knocks over a couple caskets and shit. And Powers Booth said, "Boys, even I'm a little afraid what happens when Johnny Ringo's gonna run this outfit. Like, let's go get fucking wasted." And you hear him like, "Let's go get fucked up." Like, but it was at that point that you knew shit was gonna go left. Like, at some point. And all the wives are hanging out, and the men are out working at the casino, and somebody pulls up, and one of the cowboys shoots up their house with a shotgun. And Virgil's walking like he's going to go home. He's going to go home to the women. And he gets shot out there because there's like a big storm, man. It's like a crazy ass storm with the lightning and shit.
Mm-hmm.
He gets shot, and then they tell him, like, "You're not going to be able to use your arm anymore."
Yep. That was
a real thing, too.
accurate. Yep.
I like the line he said, though. He said, "Well, don't worry, baby. I still got one arm to hold you with." Like, what else can you say?
Right.
And, Wyatt's like, "I fucking told you, Virgil." And he's like, "I don't want to hear that shit right now, Wyatt." Like, so he goes out, and Bill Paxton had already run off because he was upset, And so when Wyatt Earp goes outside, 3 of the cowboys pull up, which is Michael Rooker. He plays McMasterson. Well, actually, the other 2 weren't cowboys. They were just guys out there because they knew him. Because they come out. It's like one of the first scenes. Like they're walking through the town for the first time, and these 2 guys come out of a saloon. And he's like, "You cheat, son of a bitch!" And he fucking shoots him. And the marshal's like, "I need your guns, boys. Got to take it to court." And he's like, "Well, it was legal." He's like, "Yeah, ask anybody." He goes, "He drove on me first." And he's like, "Doesn't matter, boys. We still got to take it up there." And they're like, "Yeah, well, rules are rules." They just put their guns up and give them to him, you know?
That's true, yeah.
So it's like Texas Jack Johnson, and the other was like Jack something, but they were both Jacks, and then McMasterson. And he's like, "I just want to let you know that I ain't have nothing to do with them shooting at your women." He was like, "I don't agree with that shit at all." And he's like, "Yeah, well, you know how brothers stick together." And he's like, "Not after tonight." And he throws his sash on the ground. He's like, "If you decide to do anything," he's like, "we're with you." And then they ride off, you know? It's a cool scene, too, because he picks up the red sash, and you see the lightning coming down, and Bill Paxton's playing pool, and he gets shot in the fucking back through the window, like fucking they cowardly killed him, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just that scene where he hears the gunshot, and then he just kind of lets the sash kind of run through his hand. I don't know, I just thought that was a really cool scene, like, showing that.
Good cinematography.
Right, I was just about to say, that's fire. So then, of course, it cuts to them. You know, he's up on the pool table. He's fucking pouring blood. And someone shut that fucking dog up. Like, Kurt Russell, great acting in there, man. Bill Paxton, too. And the bullet's, like, too deep. They can't get it. And, like, he's just going to die.
Yep.
And there's a part earlier in the movie where Bill Paxton's like, "You don't believe in God, Wyatt?" And he's like, "You don't believe that you go somewhere when you die and shit?" And he's like, I heard that you see a white light and everything. And he says, "You were right, Wyatt." He's like, "What's that, Mork?" He goes, "I can't see a fucking thing." And then he just dies, man. It's so fucking sad, dude.
Yeah,
like,
I couldn't imagine having my brother die in my arms like that.
Oh, my God, dude. And then he goes out in the street, and there's just fucking blood all over him, and can't be consoled. The actress bitch comes out there, and he's like, "No, no." And his old lady comes out there, and he's like, "No," you know. So this is my part is like what coming up on the greatest parts of this movie. Like, I love this. I love the first standoff. You know, when he kills the town marshal, and then I like the OK Corral, but like this next one coming up, like this is what makes this movie the fucking GOAT. So they load up Morgan's body, and they're leaving town, man. Like, you know, you shot one of my brothers, you killed one of my other brothers. He goes, "Y'all ain't gonna get me too." Like, he's like, "We're packing up, y'all win," and that's what he tells Powers Booth. Like, it's over. And then Powers Booth, with the most savage, fucking heartless motherfucker, "Well, bye." And then fucking Ringo, like, on a fucking rap diss track or something, is like, "Smell that, Curly? Smell like somebody died." And fucking Powers Booth can't even hold it. He's like, "God damn, Johnny." Like, fucking Ike spitting and shit the whole time. They ride off, and then that's when he tells Ike, "You take Williams and Masters and finish that shit." So they go up there with these big ass guns, and he's like, "That's Virgil with the women." He's like, "I don't see Wyatt," but he's like, "He's mine." And he goes, "Hey, Virgil, where's Wyatt at?" And he cocks that bitch back, and then my boy blows him in half. And then when he walks up, and Ike, of course, just fucking, "Don't give up, I fucking give up, man." When he walks up and takes his boot and uses the spur to cut his fucking face open, man. Mm-hmm. That shit is hard, dude.
Yeah.
"You tell him I'm coming. And hell's coming with me." Fantastic line. And then we get the fucking montage, baby. The cinematography shows them coming over the fucking plains. And then it's just murking time, boy. "I see a man with a red sash. I kill the man wearing it," dude. It's a great little fucking monologue he's got right there. But then I love the one where they're in the opium den, and the dude grabs the fucking, what he thinks is the pipe, but it's really Kurt Russell's barrel. And he looks up and blows his fucking dome off, man. It's pretty brutal to get murdered back then, dude. Because like
100%.
the one dude, bro, he didn't even shoot him. He just hit him in the fucking mouth with his gun, like as hard as he could.
You know, the guns were heavy as fuck, too.
Dude, straight wood stock, dude.
Yeah.
And then like fucking fall off the horse. That's another 6 feet into the ground.
The bullets were so bad they didn't even like penetrate you. They just felt like a huge punch.
Honestly, though, like.
Because yeah, they were fucking
just metal balls.
Yeah,
dude,
just
like,
huge balls.
But it's great seeing like they whack most of them, and then they're looking for Curly Bob and the rest of the like management, pretty much, and they're all holed up out in the woods, and it's another great fucking scene. Like they go out there, and all of a sudden you just see guns all from across.
I was gonna say
thing.
this is your shootout.
Yeah, it's fucking great, dude. Like, but that's what I'm saying. This shootout right here isn't even talked about in history like that, and fucking the OK Corral was like that, dude.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they start shooting at him, and they all have to take cover. Well, you hear Powers Booth, "Hey, Wyatt, that you?" Like, you know, they were waiting on him, type shit, and they're like, "What are we gonna do? We're pinned down, and you know we can't do nothing." And it's the two Jacks, Michael Rooker and Doc Holliday with him. And
I have to say, this is kind of cheesy.
No,
It's kind of the only cheesiest part of this movie.
I do like the part of him like saying "fuck it" and going out there because
Yeah. But the rest
they
of
wouldn't
it,
expect it. But him just yelling "no" 35 fucking times, I didn't really like that part.
yeah,
But,
it's kind of cheesy.
But when he goes out and like, I like the fact that Powers Booth was such a crazy motherfucker that he fucked with it. Like he told everybody, "Yo, stop shooting! I got this shit." Like he went out there to fucking go out there and duel this motherfucker one-on-one because he's like, if I kill Wyatt Earp, I'm the man forever, you know. And then of course he goes out and he's shooting right at him. Can't fucking hit shit.
Yeah, they said the bullets were like zipping around him.
And as soon as he gets and he realizes he doesn't even get a chance to drop the fucking handgun to get for his rifle, you just see him, no, boo! He blows him away, dude. It's so good. They kill the rest of them or whatever. And I love the scene afterwards because Doc Holliday's all fucked up. You know, he's still like sick as shit. And he's laying down and he's like, you ever seen? I ain't never seen no shit like that before. What about you? And the other Jack's like, I've been there and I never seen no shit like that. And Michael Rooker walks by and he's like, where's he at? And fucking Doc Holliday's like, oh, he's down by the water, probably walking on water. Or he's down by the creek, probably walking on water. And he gets up and he's coughing and shit. And like, one of the Jacks is like, Doc, you sick as fuck, man. You need to be in a bed. Like, why are you out here right now?
I was going to say, guys
like,
back then were built different.
He's like, Wyatt Earp's my friend. And he's like, well, shit, I got a lot of friends. And he's like, I don't.
Nope.
And I felt that shit. Like, he meant that shit. Like, hey, Wyatt, I'm here for the end, dog. You know, like, there ain't a lot of friends like that out there anymore, you know? So I just love their bond. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a real ride or fucking die right there.
I know, it's sad that it like the bond was broken over a woman.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a couple scenes though, like after Billy Zane gets murdered and she's leaving and he's like, and she walked out of our lives forever. Like, he just had so many good lines, man.
Yeah, it's just full of one-liners. That's all really Doc Holliday is. It's just
literally, it's a fucking poster.
He's a one-line machine.
Dude, he's killing it in this fucking movie, man. And so they're riding out, and they said, you could sure as shit that Ringo's heading for us now. Like, it's the last of the Cowboys are coming for us. And Doc's so fucking sick, he like falls off his fucking horse. And shout out to OG movie makers, man. Charlton Heston playing the rancher that takes him in, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy. Because, I mean, I can't think of a movie where Charles Heston ever played anything like that, dude. But it was nice to see him.
Yeah. It was a nice little cameo.
And he tells, and Wyatt like goes to Doc because like he knows he's not gonna lie to him, and he's like, what makes a man like Johnny Ringo tick? And he's like, he goes, he can't never kill enough, steal enough, or do enough, inflict enough pain to fill the hole inside of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, what's he want? And he's like, revenge. And he's like, revenge for what? And he says, being born.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, you know? And that's what Wyatt tells him. He's like, I can't beat him, can I? And he's like, no. But he's just like, well, I ain't gonna be no bitch. I told him I was gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. And then that's when you know Doc's slick as fuck. He's like, what's it like to wear one of those? And he takes his badge off and he gives it to Doc Holliday. And he's like, now you know. And then he goes out there and he tells Charlton Heston, he's like, he's too sick to go with y'all. He's like, if anybody comes for him, they got to come over us before they get to him. He's like, you got my word. You know, they shake hands and shit. And then Wyatt and the two Jacks go out there because when the actress came through with Billy Zane's body, McMasterson was supposed to give him like a bodyguard type situation, like a courier, like he was supposed to get him to the next wherever. And they got him. The Cowboys got him, and they drag him, and old boy pulls up dragging his body. And he's like, they got McMasterson. And he's like, he'll meet you by so-and-so mountain by the big oak tree or whatever. And that's when he knows. And then you have the whole scene right there. But so Wyatt shows up with the other two Jacks, and the Cowboys pull up, and they're like, he's waiting for you down the road. It's about a half mile up by the big tree. And Wyatt turns to the two Jacks, and he's like, if this goes bad, he goes, y'all probably want to head left to Mexico quick. And the one Jack, he's just like, Wyatt, I ain't got the words. Like, meaning like, I want to tell you something really deep and meaningful, you know, about what you mean to us, but I just can't find it. I'm not smart enough.
Yeah.
And I love Kurt Russell's response. He's like, I know, me neither. Like, they both want to say something to each other, but
this is nothing to say.
It's just not like how the dudes did back then, you know,
Yeah.
which I always like that part. So you see the badge glimmering through the darkness, and Ringo's sitting out there, and he's like, well, I didn't think you'd show up. And then you hear my boy, I'm your Huckleberry. He looks, and then sure enough, you see my boy Doc Holliday smoking a cigarette with the tuberculosis. No fucks given, dog. And I love, like, the longer the movie goes on, like, the bigger the purple shadows.
Oh, he looks
under.
rough.
By the end of the movie, bro, he looks like a corpse.
He
You know
does,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? And, like, the sweat and everything. Like, I can only imagine how fucking hot it was out there and all that shit filming this.
That's what I was saying. Like, dudes were built different. Like, because if I had that, I would just lay in bed until I died.
Dude, they were wearing these thick ass fucking clothes and chaps and boots and spurs and all this other shit. Like, they probably had 60 pounds of gear on them at all times.
Right.
Like, back then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so he's like, my fight ain't with you, Holiday. And he's like, I beg to differ. We played a game and we never got to finish. And he was like, well, I was just fooling. And then my boy looks at him like he's talking to his true love. I wasn't. He's like, all right, Lunger, you want to die? I'll give you what you want. Say when. My boy don't even put a cigarette down. Tapping on the fucking butt of the gun, and when Ringo goes to move, right in the fucking dome, dude. Come on, Johnny, let it out.
Hate to tell you, this was one of the fabricated parts.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, I gotta get this line out real quick though. When he's like, well, Johnny Ringo, it looks like somebody just walked over your grave. I was like, oh my god, this motherfucker is so badass.
Ringo did die. He was found in the woods with a bullet to his right temple, and they say he committed suicide, but other people are like, he just got it.
Fuck that, Doc got him.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going with. Doc got his ass. So yeah, then of course Wyatt shows up, and I'm afraid the stress was too much for him to bear. And he sees the badge sitting on him, and he's like, picks up the badge, and he looks at Doc, and he's like, oh, I may not have been as sick as I was leading on. He goes, well, let's finish this, and they pulls him up, and they got that cool handshake, and he's like, the last ride of Wyatt Earp and his Immortals. And then we get another badass montage, dude, where they're just fucking cleaning up.
Did they say it in the movie, but the Cowboys ended up becoming the sheriff, like, in town, like the deputies and stuff?
No, but that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? That was like real life stuff, because whenever he went on his vendetta, Wyatt, he lost his position, but they gave it to the Cowboys. Like, fucking crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, they did kind of, but yeah. I didn't think that was afterwards, because when you see the sheriff riding with all the cowboys, and he's like, there's 40 of them, and they all got badges.
Yeah.
Like, he swore them all in, so they weren't outlaws anymore. They were cops. So if Wyatt and them weren't cops, then they were the ones committing murder.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I just think it's crazy that it did like the whole switcheroo. Yeah. And it really happened, like, real deal.
Well, I mean, shit was crooked as fuck. You know, you could literally buy anything. But so of course they kill most of them, and then fucking Ike gives up, and then they do that cool handshake while they're riding, and it cuts back to Doc in the hospital, and there's a priest there pretty much giving him his last rites, and Wyatt shows up, and he's like, "How you doing, Doc?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm dying." "How are you, Wyatt?" And like they go to play cards, you know, because Doc likes to play cards, and he's like, "I told you not to come here anymore. I meant it. Go, Wyatt." And like he keeps like fucking ignoring him, and they're playing. He's like, "Come on." He's like, How many cards you want?" He's like, "I don't want to play anymore, Wyatt." Like, so they stop him, and he gives him that speech about how he fell in love with his first cousin, and he's like, well, that's good, Doc. And he's like, how'd that work out? And he's like, she joined the commune because of the relationship. Like, she found God because, you know, she didn't want to be with me. He goes, and I've been walking around ever since carrying that, you know, that pain, you know. And he says, Wyatt, if you were ever my friend, if you ever had any respect for me, he's like, get up and fucking leave and don't come back. And it's a really fucking powerful moment because he just kind of looks at him, and Doc gives him the nod, like, it's cool, man. Like, I'm not mad at you. Like, just let me die in peace type of shit. And he shakes his hand, and he's like, thanks for always being there, Doc. And he walks up, but he doesn't look at what he gives him, because when he first get there, he's like, I brought you a present. And he puts it on his chest, and he's like just holding it. And as he's walking away, he pulls up the book, and Wyatt Earp had wrote a book about Doc Holliday. He goes, it's called My Friend Doc Holliday. And he's like, son of a bitch. And then, I don't know, like there's been whole movies, or there's been whole videos and shit and analysis made of what he's doing when he looks down at his feet. And I still, to this day, don't understand it, because he looks down at his feet. He puts the book down and he looks down at his toes. And he's like, well, ain't that some shit, or something like that. And then he fucking dies.
Oh, I don't know. I would say he knows he's about to die. Yeah, like he can't move his feet anymore. Right. Like he's lost all motor function.
Might have been it.
Maybe. I'm not sure. Sad to say that wasn't real either. That part. But
so pretty much Doc tells him, like, go live your life, Wyatt. Go live it for me, live it for you, you know, live it for everybody, you know, and go get the actress and go live your life, you know. So I like that scene. He fucking tracks her down, and he's like, I don't have anything left. He's like, I sold everything. I got everything to get to you. He's like, I got nothing to offer you, but I promise I'll love you till my dying breath. And they embrace, and I thought it was kind of a fucking funny line, but like kind of weird at the same time. She's just like, hey, don't worry, my family's rich. Like,
yeah.
We're gonna live happily ever after. And then they pretty much did. They were like 47 years.
That's what
never fucking again. And
that's what the wife said after she said that. She's like, that's what every man wants to hear.
Don't worry, my family's rich.
Yeah.
Thank God. I don't have to work anymore. And then it tells them that Ike got shot pulling a bank robbery 3 years later, and so pretty much the Cowboys are dead and over with. And they talk about Virgil becoming a sheriff in another town, even with one arm. And I love even the end credits, man, because I feel like they pulled it from the trailer when it came out. It's just the four main guys walking through town, you know, and it's showing the credits and everything.
Yeah.
It's a fucking masterpiece. Still clapped for it in my living room, you know?
I just love that it's so historically accurate. Like everything, like 90% of everything in this movie actually happened.
Right.
Maybe not the way it did in the movie, but it did happen in one way or another.
Say they didn't just like I'm trying to think of another Western that's like good movie, but it's not accurate at all, is the one with The Harder They Fall on
Mm-hmm.
Netflix. It's really cool because they pull all these famous black cowboys and they put them together, but like there's no story in which all of these people were in the same place at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they're all real people, they're all real characters, but like they're not, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. They made a whole story with them.
right.
Yeah.
And it's still a great Western. Like well, I think I enjoyed it. It's probably the last Western I watched that I enjoyed like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still like a good movie, but it's like I said, but with the fact that it's such a good movie and it's keeps true for the most part to the actual events.
Yeah.
Can't beat that, man.
Right.
And I still live with it too. I think this is the greatest Western ever made, man. Like,
I can't think of a better one. I mean, in my personal opinion, I'm not that big on the Westerns. I was thinking about that. I feel like I just keep saying things like Victor and I did, Skinamarink, which is like a horror movie. And I'm like, I'm not really into horror. I'm not really into Westerns. Like, what the fuck do you like?
yeah.
But anyway, this is one of those Westerns that I can watch anytime. Like putting it on was easy.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece. I mean,
it's one of those movies that like I just like I can always talk about it.
yeah.
Like, and watching it this last time, I thought to myself, like, fuck, man, like, this has been way too long since I've watched this. Like, I used to get, like, once every couple months, I'd watch Tombstone. So, like I said, my dad always watched this bitch. Like, it was always on.
Mine was Predator.
Whatever part. Oh, fucking Tombstone's on. We're watching that shit.
Yeah.
And my buddy Jesse was like, he does this thing with the alphabet on TikTok. He'll be like, what's the greatest movie that ever started with the letter T?
Yeah.
And of course, I was first one in the comments, Tombstone. You know, like 75 people have liked just my comment. Like they agree with me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, bro. That's it. That's it right there. And it just goes to show that this movie is fucking timeless. And like, it is that good.
Mm-hmm.
This bitch gets a 10 out of 10 on the par scale.
Yeah, it's highly recommended. It's the most recommended Western that I can say.
Right. Out of his list of 5, he knows.
Right,
this is the one
exactly.
he'll tell you
This is
every
top
time.
tier.
But it, yeah, man.
I mean, even watching it this time, I like usually
There's little things I picked up on that I didn't think of. Like I said, when I noticed Old Boy from My Big Fat Greek Wedding,
Mm-hmm.
and then I noticed Old Boy from 90210, I was just
Right.
like, that's got to be him, man. Because I didn't recognize him with facial hair.
I'm glad
and
you found
glasses.
that out because
Well, when I saw the Priestley, I was like, that is fucking him, dude. Like,
But usually when we do these and I go back and watch the movies and we've been doing this a while, we review the movies, we pick it apart. I still love everything about this movie.
yeah.
Like there's nothing besides the
Yeah.
it was literally the only thing in the movie that I like have a problem with.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's so glaring that you can't get over it.
Yeah.
It is just kind of a little like, damn, y'all could have put something else in there. Like,
Or done one no and then had him shoot
Right.
him. Like you didn't have to keep saying it.
give him another iconic line, dude. Something, not just no, like a fucking robot.
Yeah. But yeah, I love this movie. It's a great movie.
Fantastic.
I was struggling on what to give you next. It's changed like 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I was like, Kurt Russell. Like, I know there's a Kurt Russell movie that we need to do.
There's never not a good reason to do a Kurt Russell movie.
And then I was taking a shower and it fucking dawned on me. I was like, we're fucking doing it.
Oh, yeah, dude. I was hoping you was either going to see this or you were going to say Escape from New York. I was hoping for one of the two. But that works. I own that.
Big Trouble, Little China.
I love that movie, dude.
I was like,
I haven't seen it in forever either.
It's same. But I was like, it's a fucking comedy. Like,
Right.
it's a cult favorite.
Yeah,
And
cult classic.
cult class. Because I don't know any, like, comedy Westerns, really. I mean, but like I
That
said,
aren't terrible.
Buster Scruggs, but
Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles. There's not that many. Not really.
I would have been all right with Buster Scruggs. I actually liked it. I didn't think it was going to be that good. I didn't think it was going to be good at all, but
Mhm.
I kind of liked it.
Yeah, but I'm saving my Coen brother pick for another movie. So, and
That's
I was going to do that one, but I changed it last minute. Burn After Reading. I was like, oh, now I can do Burn After Reading. But then I was like, I got to do Big Trouble, Little China. I'm not going to get another chance to do a.
Well, I love that pick, man. I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I think so too.
And it's going to be one of those things like, I hope I still enjoy it as much. Because, like, you know, the nostalgia factor.
Yeah.
Like I said, I haven't watched this movie in a good bit. So I wonder if I'm still gonna enjoy it as much.
Well, I rewatched it a couple years ago, and I was like, I love this movie even more.
Really?
Yeah.
And we're about to find out. But yeah, I give it a 10 out of 10, man.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. So definitely my favorite Val Kilmer movie.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
Hands down. Best performance.
I'd say after that, it's probably
Real Genius?
no. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah.
You're sleeping on that movie, dog.
I know. I'm going to rewatch it because everyone talks about how much they love that movie.
I get back. I'm mad at myself too because like now I think that was one of those movies that I didn't rewatch it. I was just trying to go from memory, and I think that episode suffered because of it. Like, so if I I'm not saying like all of them, but like there are a couple episodes that I would like to like a redux.
Yeah,
like go in.
I would like to do a redux of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of these days we could probably do that. Like when you got a good idea that week or whatever.
Yeah.
But that, and then of course, I like Batman Forever. I like the one. I like the Saint. I'm not a huge fan of the Saint, but I think he's good. And then of course Heat to round out the top 5.
Yeah. I think you just named them all. Oh, The Doors. I actually really like The Doors.
Fuck, he's great in Finding Wonderland too. Or not Finding Wonderland. I think it's just called Wonderland.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I've seen that one.
He plays John Holmes when he's got like full blown AIDS. He's just like a cokehead. He can't even do movies anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty good. Like he's trying to he's trying to set this drug dealer up for this motorcycle gang because he owes him a shit ton of money, and he pretty much gets him in there. And then when they catch him, he fucking turns on the biker gang and gets them all fucking murdered.
Yeah.
It's a pretty crazy movie. You gotta watch it.
This is that one that I was telling you about that Francis Ford Coppola did.
Twixt.
Apparently it's god awful. But I think we watched the trailer on the podcast and you were like, that looks terrible.
When was it made?
2011.
And Val Kilmer's in it? Speaking?
And Francis Ford Coppola wrote and directed it. Yeah. Stars Val Kilmer.
I mean, it's got a good cast.
Yeah.
You got Val, you got
this isn't a trailer. This is just like a
scene. And I mean, I like what's his name? I like Bruce Dern.
Yeah.
Elle Fanning.
We'll have to do it one day because it looks insane.
That it does.
Elle Fanning, I love her.
So it says she's a good actress too.
Anyway.
Well, that's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to that. Big Trouble in Little China.
Hell yeah.
I'm surprised you don't own that on Blu-ray.
I know. I bought this not too long ago, and I just really like it, so I haven't upgraded it yet.
That's a cool
I just really like
cover.
that slipcover.
Yeah. I got mine at the flea market. It's like the original one.
Yeah.
Where it's like a comic book on the front.
The OG.
Yeah, like it's cartoon drawn.
Well,
Hardwired.
Big Trouble Little China next week.
All right, later, y'all.
See you later.